Okay, let's do it. Ryan Garcia B-Sample. We got to talk about the B-Sample. It's all about the B-Sample, everybody. Ryan Garcia, what is the latest when it comes to it? Well, boxing reporter Dan Rayfield has cued the fans, and he's been really on top of this whole thing, where just letting people know what's going on. When Ryan failed with the Ostarine, when Ryan Garcia initially tested positive, to when Ryan was cleared of the nandrolone metabolite, and the whole process. So let's talk about it. So you guys see it on the screen. It says Dan Raphael, boxing reporter. Per sources, Ryan Garcia, his B-Sample was open today with his representative. So he had a representative making sure this process was on the up and up. On hand to observe. Will take at least a couple of days for the results, but certainly possible it could stretch into early next week due to the weekend and the holiday Memorial Day. I'll let you know when they're in. So anybody else who's saying anything else, which I've definitely seen online, it's just a lie, point blank period. He had a B-Sample open, they're testing it. And then somebody said, couple days for the results, get the F out of here. Dan Rayfield responded, there are 2 WADA accredited labs in the United States. You think Ryan's sample just goes to the front of the line? They are testing thousands of samples from all sorts of tests, and it takes time to do the actual test and have it analyzed. Unreal how ignorant you all are about testing. I agree. There's been so much misinformation and lies. People said the B-Sample came back already. People just making up stuff on their YouTube titles, all kinds of stuff. What does this say? So it takes a few days for the results to come back, but it took like 3 weeks for them to report the initial positive results. Got it. The initial tests are being screened for hundreds of banned substances, and the lab is testing other people's samples also. So yeah, it takes a few weeks when you don't pay for a quicker turnaround. Now that they're testing for one substance, Ostarine, that Ryan, his A sample was positive. This is very startling how many alleged experts you see, like this guy, David. This makes perfect sense, right? If you know what you're looking for and you're testing for one particular chemical makeup, like Ostarine, it's going to be easier to find, right? It's like almost like a bingo card. If you have your bingo card and you've been playing bingo and they've called out several numbers, that card starts to fill out. So you can see what spots you need to score a bingo. It's going to be a lot easier as the game progresses if no one's called a bingo, right? But when you first get your bingo card, it's just a blank card with one free spot. So of course that process is going to be harder, and that's why you have to play the game of bingo and fill out the card, right? Somebody says, breaking news, Ryan Garcia's B-Sample test result has been confirmed to be positive. This means Ryan's win, yada, yada, yada. Dan Rayfield says this is not true. There are no test results yet for the B-Sample. Like, what is up with this where people are just outright lying? Like, what part of Twitter is that? Who has time to just sit there and lie? Like, it's really weird. Like, some of you guys need to get a job or a hobby or a girlfriend, because people just outright lying. Someone says, do we know if Ryan or anyone from his team is there for this? Seems like he's still overseas. Yes, Ryan Garcia has a representative there to observe. So he does have representation to make sure everything was opened up in front of them, and no one could have, like, I guess, get in the way of it and tamper with it. What is this? Funny thing is, remember they said the test results come back within 72 hours, but say it takes up to a week or 2 weeks to get them back. But now he takes the B sample and the results gonna come back in a few days. Folks just be lying. Again, this to me is not really hard to understand. I just explained it. This dude is absolutely clueless. says Dan Rayfield. And I could tell that some of you guys have never just experienced life or whatever, because this type of stuff, it's really not hard to, at least for me, to understand how it takes weeks for the initial drug test results to come back. But now that you've tested positive for ostarine, that's the only thing he tested positive for. So that's specifically what they're looking for. For example, if you had to count down a safe and you had to count down all the tills at a job, right? And there is a discrepancy where the safe was off. And then you have to count the bags or the tills and you narrow it down to a specific day. And then you have someone recount, like let's say Monday was off. Monday's till was off in the safe. So now that you have a specific day, then that becomes very easy to take the money out, if it's still there or bagged up or whatever, in the safe. And then you just recount that one day to check for discrepancy, right? And like, oh, this person counted it wrong, right? But if you have a discrepancy at a job with money in a safe and you haven't narrowed it down to what day had the overage or the underage, right? That's a completely different situation. Same thing with this drug test. If you know what you are looking for, if someone did an STD test and they're just testing for any STD, herpes, AIDS, HIV, the clap, and they're just testing for any various STD, HP or whatever that's out there, that's different. But then if you had a test where they said, hey, you failed, you have the clap, you have this X, Y, and Z, and then you're like, I don't believe you, I want to do a retest. And then they retest you and they're testing you for what you tested positive for. And they're just looking for that, which is, again, always going to be easier than looking for hundreds of thousands of stanozolol and all types of, who's that? Banned substances. Very easy concept for me to understand. I don't know why so many people are lying. I don't understand why so many people have a difficulty in understanding this. People are outright lying, making up things, saying that the B sample came back, saying that Ryan, the commission already ruled. None of this stuff is true. None of this stuff is true. And again, this hurts. The reason we got to talk about this, it hurts boxing when people are just outright lying, because you got people outright lying. And that's why innocent casual fans, not people who are being malicious, but the innocent fans, they're all tossed up and confused. Like, hey, what's going on? People, like, just all across the board. There's some people that say Ryan Garcia didn't fail any test and they're saying he's been cleared. That's not true. He got cleared of the nandrolone because it required further testing. So all types of information that is being put out that's wrong. We have different levels. That's why I told you, I'm just going to sit this one out, see how this plays out, see what the next step is. And that's the best stance anyone can take. But that is the latest. Ryan Garcia, they did open the B sample, but now they have to actually test it, which could lead up with Memorial Day. That's not an operating day for a lot of businesses. So it could take a week or so. Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe. I will keep you guys updated on Ryan Garcia's B sample results, because I know everybody wants to know.